Good morning, everyone. I trust you are well. Apologies in advance that I am starting slightly earlier than usual. Thursdays are a difficult day. I have a meeting at 9, so therefore I want to share with you a brief thought. We mentioned earlier in the week about the Metzora. The Metzora was a person afflicted with a physical malady as a result of a spiritual illness or speaking badly of it, Lashon Hara. He was called Tzoras, and he was called a Metzora. The language that the Torah uses is fascinating. It says that the person will be cured from Tzoras, and the language that's used is the Metzora, from being the Metzora. So the question is obvious. Obviously, if you are cured from the malady, then you're no longer in that state. Why does it need to mention that you're no longer in that state and you're cured from the malady? There's a funny, amusing story that I think can help us from Mordechai Kamenetsky shares it. And the story goes as follows. There's once a man who had a drinking problem, and to cut a long story short, he promised his wife he'd given up drinking. Anyways, one night, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, he staggers home. He's been at the bar drinking late, he's completely shikha, and on the way home he's holding one of the bottles of beer, and the beer bottle falls out of his hand. He falls to the floor, falls on the beer bottle, cuts his face, cuts his hands, and he tidies up as best he can, and he's bleeding. He goes home, arrives home, tries not to make any noise to wake his wife, goes into the bathroom, takes the salve, takes the band-aids and puts them on, and then he goes to bed. Next morning, his wife confronts him and says, "You were drunk. You promised me you wouldn't drink." He says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I just had a late night at the office." "Late night at the office? You said you weren't going to drink. You were drinking." He says, "I wasn't." He says, "Well, you've got cuts all over your face." He says, "Yes, I fell on the way out the office. It was very late. I worked very hard, and therefore, when I finished, it was so late, I didn't know what I was doing, and I tripped out the doorway." Well, I said, "Okay, so why is it that there's salve and band-aids on the mirror in our bathroom rather than on your face?" So the message is clear that if we actually want to become better people, if we actually want to overcome illnesses such as speaking badly about other people and other things, we can't put band-aids on it. We can't assume that others are going to do the work for us, but the work starts and stops with us. And that is why it refers to not just being cured from the malady, but from the person themselves. And that's because it's incumbent on the individual, on each and every one of us, to cure ourselves. The buck stops with us. So please God, we should all be able to make the necessary amends and to be able to improve ourselves and to take responsibility for our actions. Wishing everyone well. Have a great day. Please God, tomorrow we will be back. Normal time, normal place. Take care.